People are starting to see through it, but I don't think they have another game. I think they have nothing left but to stoke this rhetoric, to get these violent crazies out there, and they're doing it. Like,
this is the new reality with what
Yeah.
we're faced with, Mark. 10 years of political violence by one side.
yeah, 100%. This is so predictable. Like, seeing this coming, because we've been polling on the violent rhetoric for a really long time. I mean, we had a Trump assassination attempt, but they've been using words like this for a really long time. And I think the main problem is that they had an entire establishment that worked in unison in order to maintain power. And people believed them. They had trust. You know, there was authority. People trusted the elites. They listened to talking heads on the news. They paid attention to them. And bit by bit, they've had to lie more and more and more. And as people have woken up, they've lost their grip because they pushed too hard. And what we've had over the last 5 years is what I think is essentially probably the largest mass psychological operation that's ever been played on the American populace. And that has outcome. Like, this is what they've reaped. Like, they gaslit everybody about the election. They lied to everybody's faces about COVID. They tried to say that Trump was a fascist. They tried to paint his supporters as violent. They turned January 6th into something that it was not. And those lies have gotten worse and worse. And the people that continue to believe them have become more and more demented. And so we got to the point where now 43% of America thinks there's going to be a civil war. A majority of people on both sides thought there was going to be a violent reaction to the outcome of the 2024 election. And yet there are people waking up, because after Trump's assassination attempt, we asked, well, why did this happen? Are these crazies just trying to assassinate Trump because they're associated with suffering from mental illness? Or are they motivated by the rhetoric of Trump's enemies? And that one won 49 to 36%. So the people are starting to see through it, but I don't think they have another game. I think they have nothing left but to stoke this rhetoric, to get these violent crazies out there. And they're doing it. Like, we're going to see more of this. There are whole communities on Reddit that are out there trying to teach trans people how to shoot guns. We're going to see more of this.
And it comes at somebody's expense, Mark. I just want to give the audience an update here. This is just moments ago by FBI Director Kash Patel. The subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Thank you to the local and state authorities in Utah for your partnership with the FBI. We will provide you updates when able. I just want to preface that with there were some images going around on Twitter of a man in his 50s, 60s that they had taken into custody. It turns out he wasn't the shooter, they believe. He was taken into custody for obstruction of justice, and that's what he's been charged with and locked up with right now. So I just want to clarify that for the audience. They had released the police recordings of the dispatch. The man was believed to be wearing a black mask, a black shirt, and jeans with a vest on. Of course, mask marked like a coward, because none of these guys have the intestinal fortitude to walk up to somebody's face and address him with an issue. It's a man from afar who you've never seen face to face taking a shot at somebody like a coward. How much longer are people supposed to put up with this? What can be done? How much further will this go? I mean, death is the object for these people, clearly, Mark. Past that, what do you do? What are we supposed to do, Mark? This puts a target on the backs of you and I and everyone else in this country who's speaking for something, who believes for something that someone maybe on this stream doesn't agree with. I've carried a gun almost every single day of my adult life. But at the end of the day, if someone's going to shoot you in the back of the head when you're not looking, what good does that gun do you?
Yeah, out in the open when you're speaking to somebody, going to the kind of events that you and I go to. Here's the thing, and I've been saying this, I said it on your show too. I think Donald Trump is literally the one man who is doing the most to try to fix America. But our problems are so big that he can't fix it all. Society has to decide that it wants to fix these problems. And it might fix these problems extrajudiciously. It might. And I think what happens is people get complacent, they get comfortable, and then things get bad. And so people are called to action. And sometimes that happens very, very, very fast. And I don't want it to happen, but I also want us to have a better America, one that I can entrust to my children.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing is things accelerate very rapidly. And I've been predicting that this might potentially come to a head. But we're talking about 3 days ago. Imagine people out there like talking about a new White Lives Matter movement, what's happened just because of the North Carolina killing just in the last 2 or 3 days and how it's completely changed the social media landscape permanently. People are talking in ways they were not talking about a year ago about black crime statistics and things like that.
Yeah.
And then to have this happen on top of it. Now, listen, Trump, I think, will take strong action. They'll probably try to go after the death penalty for this individual, probably even a public execution like they're going to do with the Charlotte killer. I really think that's what they're trying to do. He might send people into blue cities now, and maybe the blue leaders will resist them. I don't know. But how is society going to change? It feels like people are changing their opinions a lot just today, and I'm not sure what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, that stuff is all great, Mark. The death penalty, public, whatever you want to do to destroy these people and show the world who they really are. But that doesn't stop, Mark, this rhetoric that's being pumped into these people's head. Just a month ago, we saw what South Park did to Charlie Kirk and depicting him as this person and probably riling up people. There needs to be some sort of accountability, Mark, for the mainstream media that continues to perpetrate hatred in people's bones. They have blood on their hands tonight, Mark. They had blood on their hands a year ago when Donald Trump was nearly assassinated, shot in the ear.
Yeah. But what do you do, though? That's the problem. What do you charge them with? Who charges them? What court's going to convict them? That's the problem. And so what we have now, first off, the list of people who potentially did this, and this is a political assassination. It was not terrorism. Charlie Kirk has been talking, I think I've heard from people for many years about running for public office, including potentially being on a presidential ticket. And so he can't do that now. And he was very influential with young voters. It might fix the issues that we've been talking about, how Zoomers are becoming less conservative and more socialist, but also more economic populist. He could have bridged that gap, and now he can't do that. And so this was a political killing, but so far, as we know, all these individuals are just lone wolf. But until you can put it together and say, well, now there's an organization, there's people working together, the list of people who could theoretically have done this assassination is massively long. We've been letting foreign invaders in. We have CCP connected Chinese students here on visas. We have Russia that hates us. We have our own CIA and FBI who have known to do this kind of thing in the past. It could be narco terrorists. It could be anybody who's the enemy of Charlie Kirk, or it could be these lone wolf loonies. But are they being sicked on targets? Is there coordination? And as far as I know, that's the only next step is to answer those questions and then brutally go after it. Unless you're going to say, well, no, the media is part of organizing a terrorist network. I don't think you can do that, but I do think there's blood on their hands.
There absolutely is. And you know what, Mark? You would think after something like this would happen, at least in the intermediary of it happening, these Marxist networks, these lunatics, these psychopaths on MSNBC and CNN would take a step back and realize that it can happen to anybody. It's Charlie Kirk today, but it could be somebody else tomorrow. And that's what they don't realize. Yet everything to them is politicized. Let's take a listen to MSNBC just moments after he was shot, blaming it on Donald Trump, saying Donald Trump is going to use this to his benefit.
Because as we were just talking about a moment ago with Alan, after one of the Doge employees was allegedly attacked in Washington, D.C., that's what Donald Trump used as justification to send in federal troops into Washington, D.C. to get things under control. The carjacking situation, he used that. And I know it's hard to predict the future, Mark, but you can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
I must admit, I'm at a loss to guess as to what happens next. But Kirk,
Donald Trump will use this to his advantage, Mark, just moments after he was assassinated.
Yeah. This is from the side who coined the term never waste a good crisis. Like the amount of hypocrisy is absolutely crazy here. But yeah, Donald Trump is a smart person. He's an opportunist. He's going to take advantage of a window. And if Democrats are going to run these horrible cities where people can't be safe, then he's going to send the troops in. And to his personal advantage, he's not doing it to enrich himself. He's trying to keep American citizens safe. And if he goes after these networks of people spreading violent rhetoric and hate, listen, I like the First Amendment as much as anybody else. And again, I think that they bear blame and culpability as like what I would expect out of a human with integrity and shame. Not necessarily that I think that they can be legally pursued, because I just don't think our laws allow for that. And we don't want laws that can be used against legitimate free speech, because we've seen how that gets twisted and only used to protect the establishment. And so maybe there's something the FCC can do. Maybe there's ties to political organizations and money. There's got to be an angle. I don't know what it is, but it needs to be the focus, because the media is causing this. The numbers of how different MSNBC watchers are from Fox News watchers, like what they fundamentally believe. There is a church on the left, and it is preaching hate. We don't tolerate it from radical Islam. Are we going to tolerate it from radical Marxism? I don't know.
I mean, clearly we've tolerated it, Mark. We've had 2 failed assassination attempts on President Trump. We watched a man be murdered who is turning 32 next month, just had a newborn baby in May. And seamlessly the media just acts like nothing goes on. But then January 6th happens, Mark, and it's the worst day that these people ever experienced. Not one Republican killed one person. There were bad actors there that were sent most likely by the government. Yet this was the worst day the country's ever seen since Pearl Harbor. Forget about 9/11, which the anniversary is tomorrow. I mean, you just look and you have to think, Mark, either these people are sick and perverse people, or they are mentally deranged. And I'm not even saying this as a joke, because it's hit that point now, Mark, when you turn on MSNBC and these people are sitting there with a straight face trying to justify this any way possible. Even big old JB Pritzker, Jabba the Hutt. Let's take a listen to what he had to say just moments after Charlie was assassinated.
My sympathy to Charlie Kirk's family and to Charlie Kirk, who obviously has, become a target for somebody. I don't know whether it's political violence, because I don't know who did it. I know they seem to have somebody in custody. But I will say that political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence.
I mean, it's just wild. Well, for the first half of it, I was like, wow, this guy gets it. He does feel shame. He knows it's gone too far. He's going to try and draw a line and be one of the first people to have him. Oh, no, he's blaming it on Trump. He's blaming Charlie Kirk's political assassination on Trump. Unbelievable. Donald Trump should storm Chicago with the National Guard tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. Along with LA and New York. And these people need to wake up. And as my father used to tell me, Mark, smell the coffee.